Hello, my name is Nolan, and this is house cleaning supplies you will need in order to start your own cleaning business or just in general for maintaining your own home. So starting out, you're going to want to get yourself some microfiber cloths, and we use multiple colors just to kind of separate rooms. For example, it's not necessary, but it's just helpful to do that if you want to get in the habit of using different colors for different rooms. So having the blue ones in the kitchen, for example, the orange ones in the bathroom, and the yellow ones for doing glass or mirrors in general, if that's what you're working on and providing in the service. That way you know which one's which. So if you got one that you've done a little bit of cleaning with and it's not necessarily dirty, that way you're not mixing like the bathroom one with the glass one. It's a matter of preference. You don't have to do that, but just a suggestion. So Puma stones, you're gonna need those for the insides of toilets, around the upper sides. Sometimes some buildup can get there, and the Puma stones can help get those off. Make sure that you're using all these tools in accordance to what the directions say, so you're not doing something wrong. But you can use those also for sinks, some cases, to break stuff up and then wiping the sinks out so they stay nice and clean for people. Scraper is another tool you're going to want to have, so like a razor blade with a handle on it. If you haven't used a razor blade before, I suggest getting one and maybe practicing on your own stovetop, so that way you can make sure you're not gouging people's stuff. It is wise to use some of your cleaner and wet it down first so you're not doing it dry. So typically people would put some cleaning stuff on the top of it and letting it dwell. But if it's a really bad house, sometimes you need to do a little bit more, and that can be helpful. So the vacuum obviously is standard. So we like to use upright vacuums because in our area, most houses still have carpet in them. So an upright vacuum is going to do a solid job. You can get a stick vacuum if where you live, most hard surfaces are what's present. But still, I like to use at least this model, the Vertex, or there's another model that we have as well that is actually a step above this one called the Stratos, which is also from Shark. The reason why we still stick with these more than just the stick vacuums, one, you don't have to worry about charging batteries all the time, but two, it is still got settings for the different types of floors. So hard surface, regular carpet, and even shag carpet is on there. So it can still do the whole thing. And then you have a bigger canister so you don't have to dump as often. So it has its perks, but whatever's best suited for you is ideal. And all these tools, or most of them, will be listed in the description with links so you can purchase them yourself if you want. So on after that, this is part of our flooring cleaning steps. The next one is the spin mop here. This also has a steaming feature to it. So you put some water in it and it will cause some steam, and you put these two pads underneath it to give a little agitation, and then of course the heat will help break stuff off the floor a little better. Third step that we take after is we use what's called Abyssal Crosswave. This has a little microfiber spindle on the bottom of it here and does some extraction on top of steaming too. So that's very beneficial. Just make sure that you do not skip over vacuuming before you get to that step, because it is very important that you get up loose hair from pets or even human hair and most of the dry debris before you wet the floor out. You will have better results, and this tool will last you longer. Even though I believe it does say that you don't have to do that because it is vacuuming stuff up. It's just if you go through this step, you're gonna make this machine last longer, because there's areas stuff can get stuck, and if you don't constantly maintain it very well, it can lower the life expectancy of your tools. So make sure you're always cleaning these out after each job, obviously, so that way you can go into the next home with a clean tool and not be basically moving stuff from one place to another. So next up after vacuum, spin mop, and crosswave is going to be a duster with extension. So you want something that you can get around and on fan blades, things like that. Another one that's basically the same thing is for cobwebs. You want to get one of those cobweb dusters that you can reach up, and some of them can expand out to 15 feet. So you'll want to get something like that so you can reach people's houses that have vaulted ceilings and things to make it easier on yourself. And then we also utilize a 3-step ladder, and that's just what we prefer to do, and nothing above that for liability reasons. Of course, it's up to your discretion on what you want to do, but just take that into account if you're going to have employees. That's why we stick with that, so we're not having to worry as much liability on that with insurance policies and things like that. So you can have what you need as far as a policy and nothing too extravagant because they're on, you know, large ladders and carrying those around. So that's up to you, but it just depends on what your business model is and how far you want to go with it. So after duster with extension, non-scratch pads, so stuff like this, like the magic erasers, are good to have in your toolkit. Microfiber flat mop, so sometimes after we've gone through all 3 steps of the hard surface cleaning, we'll take a flat mop and dry mop it afterwards, because some floors can be a little bit of a pain. So for example, LVP sometimes can be a pain and leave streaks, and so flat mopping it dry afterwards for the final step can make a difference there. Toilet bowl, brush, and holder. So over here on the end, pretty standard. Most people know what those are and what the use is for, obviously. So we have that in the holder, so that way we can put it in a little storage tote and carry it around with us. So we're using and having all of our own tools on hand. Unless your client wants you to use theirs, then you just make notes of that so you know that you're going to be using their stuff. Most everybody prefers that you use your own things because then they don't have to worry about supplying it. It's part of the service. So again, up to the client and yourself and how you want to do that. So after that, we're scrub brushes. So this one's pretty good because it's got a handle that you can grip onto, so or you could do your scrubbing that you need to get done with. And next is going to be spray bottle. So for example, we use these cleaners here are concentrated, so we got to dilute them, and having these spray bottles will be very helpful so you can have different cleaners on hand. Next up is going to be your rubber gloves. You need rubber gloves, which we have right here. Those are good, obviously, when you're cleaning toilets and other, you know, dirtier spaces that you want to protect your hands. So having proper PPE, personal protective equipment on hand is good as well. So after that, toilet bowl cleaner, which we have here, a collection of cleaners. So we have a glass cleaner, a kitchen cleaner, and bathroom cleaner. And these 3 here are certified eco-friendly products. You don't have to do that, but a lot of people like hearing that when we say it. I'm sure you get a lot of jobs without having to work with those, but just knowing that you're going to be using on the main cleaning areas of most of their places, certified eco-friendly products makes a difference to people when you say it. They tend to appreciate it from what I've noticed in our area. Obviously, toilet bowl cleaner is a little different. Most people are like, oh yeah, that's fine. It's getting flushed down the toilet. You know, it's safe for them according to Lysol and the other ones that you can buy at stores. So next up is going to be an apron. So an apron we have our employees wear, and the reason why is it's more efficient. You know, you may not like it, but it is definitely more efficient to have, say, your spray bottle, like one on each hip. If you find an apron that has a little hook where you can hook them onto the sides of you, and then being able to put some microfiber cloths in it and your other little miscellaneous tools. So when you're in a room, you have everything just about on your waist instead of having to walk back and forth to your storage tote and grabbing each tool as you need it, because that can cause you a lot of loss of time, which is obviously going to cost you money in the long run. Even if you're doing it yourself, you're independent, still lost time, you know. And if you do that at, say, 3 houses, if you're servicing 3 houses in a day for your maintenance cleans, well, you can turn those 3 houses into potentially a 9-hour day when it should realistically only take you, say, 8 hours to complete those 3 houses, depending on the situation, just because of how much extra walking you're going to do, rather than just getting an apron and wearing those tools on you will speed you up quite a bit. So that's why we use an apron and why I suggest considering getting one, or at least something that allows you to hook some tools onto you so you could be more efficient. So after that is that storage tote I was talking about. So we have these storage totes. They're about this big and a little wide, and we put all of these tools, the basic stuff that we need in there, gloves, microfiber cloths, duster, brushes, all those things fit in these totes. So that way when you get to a room, you can set it down at the doorway, obviously have what you need on your waist, and start working your way around the room top down to be more efficient. After that, stainless steel cleaner. So this is one of the other items for when you're dealing with people's appliances. Use it as directed, but this product tends to work pretty well for us in most cases. So this is the one that we stock. Soft scrub is another tool that we use. A lot of times it's more for, you know, cutting grease situations. If it's a regular shower pan, not tile and grout or any other surface like that, it works in those, helps with that a little bit. So just to go back on the cleaners really quick, these are all neutral based cleaners. So I highly suggest you stay away from using any bleach or anything like that on any hard surface whatsoever. And the reason why is if it's tile and grout, or you get a house that has natural stone in it, you can ruin their stone, dole it out, and bleach, ammonia, or vinegar are all big no-nos for tile and grout. It may not seem like it's doing something right in front of you because bleach will make the grout look nice and clean, but bleach, ammonia, and vinegar all degrade grout over time and can cause it to crumble, and then you're gonna get yourself in big trouble with that client at some point or another. It will eventually happen. And then plus, it runs synergistic with all of our professional tile cleaning stuff. So we run a carpet, tile, and upholstery and other surfaces business in conjunction with this. So having neutral based cleaners won't strip the sealer off that somebody may have professionally put on their grout, or if it's a stone, across the stone. So you don't want to use anything too harsh because you're going to do damage, dole the stone out, or potentially slowly break down and ruin the grout. So those are reasons why you should stick with more neutral based pH products. So that's going to be 19, and then so number 20 is obviously a duster. You know, so something like this is good for just general dusting. You can get, you know, different kinds, obviously whatever works to your preference, but that's good for just your normal dusting if you're maintaining a house. If you're deep cleaning it, obviously it's going to be a lot more hands-on and hand wiping because it's thicker dust at that point. If it hasn't been maintained, it's going to need more attention. So you're just going to have to adjust accordingly to the jobs that you're getting. But those are the main tools. Gloves, wastebasket liners is another one. If you're doing commercial businesses, having those in stock so you can change out their small black wastebaskets if the house has those as well around it. That way you have those on hand. You could just swap those out for people, and they really appreciate that, you know, because it's part of the job is to empty their trashes, take them out to their trash can and stuff like that. So that way when they come home from work or whatever it is it may be, they will have a nice clean home. And this is your house cleaning supplies. I hope this really helps. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I will do my best to respond when possible. Otherwise, again, most of these cleaners will have a link in the description for you to purchase if you'd like. Most of this, pretty much almost all of it,